What's popping on? In the outside chronicles, which I can't relate to because I'm just inside all the time, we got Trap Lord Ross running into Complex Con, of all places, where if you got motion, you're out there. That's probably why I'm not in Vegas right now. But Trap Lord Ross pulls up on Academics, and Academics is doing something with Central C, and then the pressing begins. So I'm going to play you guys this clip, and there's a lot of context that we have to cover, but I will cover it as briefly as possible out of respect for your time. Just kidding, I do not care about your time, but it's out of respect for my own time. And I'm going to play you guys the pressing right now.
He don't got no beef with you.
Squash the beef, man. Can we squash the beef, or is it?
Never have beef, man.
Are you sure?
Never have beef.
Come on,
I appreciate you, bro. You know I said your album was the best UK album that was ever dropped.
I heard you.
No, you just say you gotta do a little bit more research. You say you're not the facts ain't there yet.
Hey, I need to get clued up, man. You need to fill in the gaps and let me know what I missed.
No, he's not gonna fill in the gaps. That's the point.
Not a problem.
No, well, you know.
I said you do me a favor.
Oh, you say you do him a favor.
Hey, look, I heard.
Hey, listen, what makes you think you can come in and speak like that?
I mean, I thought I was just saying what's up.
You just saying what's up.
Nah, he good.
Just saying what's up. How is it? It's like that.
Get out of the booth, bro. Get the f*** out of the
Right,
booth,
nah,
bro.
it's good, bro. It's good.
Get out, bro. Relax, man. Go outside the booth, and I'll come outside and I'll talk to you outside the booth. Get out of the booth.
Is that what it is?
Get yourself out of the booth. Good, man. Take him out of the booth, bro. You ain't got nothing. Take him out. I got him.
I'm gonna holler at you.
Take the guy out of the booth, bro. Bro, get out of my booth, bro.
You with him? Let him go.
Go, bro. Go with him, bro. Get out of my booth, bro. Get out of my booth. Hurry up, bro.
Hey, good to see you, man.
You know what it is,
Huh?
You see me,
You chill.
I make the music.
Yeah.
I run a business. So I can watch things from a different standpoint. But you see when
Remo, what's poppin'?
you see certain people, obviously,
Yeah.
you do the same thing. You do the same thing.
Yeah,
So it's a similar thing,
I know
but
them vibes, you know.
it's like when you're speaking about whatever you're speaking about, you're not just speaking about me. I can watch something and understand. Yeah, cool. I see the business. I see this is your job, whatever. I'm watching from a different standpoint. I put myself on the net, so I know what comes with that. But when you wanna do that to real people as well, that have real people around them. For me, maybe I'm not even so real. Central C it's an entity, innit? But then there's real people around, man, that you have to be aware of that might have a different outlook. Me, I can see things, I can watch things, I understand, innit? But not everybody can see it the same way. So you have to be aware of that as a content creator. When you're talking
So there's a couple of different things we got to look at here. Trap Lord Ross is rolling with security. And God, please help me. My life, I will probably get into a depression if I ever have to consider security when going to places. But he's out there with security, which he should be, for sure, because he talks a lot about like doing documentaries and stuff on gangster stuff. But he knows that Central C does not like him. So we got to look at this from an internet perspective. Trap Lord Ross was also streaming at ComplexCon. So what is the internet going to say if Trap Lord Ross pulls up on Central C, shakes Central C's hand, and is like, yo, what's good? They're going to look at it like, oh, yo, Central C just, like, this guy just called him not a gangster. That he made a whole documentary about it, which I'll get into the TLDR of that documentary. And he pulled up on Central C, and Central C ain't do nothing. Man, we knew he wasn't like that. If he wasn't going to do something to Trap Lord Ross, he wasn't going to do anything to anybody. Like, Central C's not like that. That's how the internet would take it. So there are a bunch of different games going on here. Number two, Academics just left him high and dry. Also, it's funny because like Academics instigator mode, that's got to be like some sort of, I don't know, some adaptive trait or some instinct or something, because he immediately went into instigate and he just said like, nah, man, my man just said you got to get the facts right. So then YBZ, who is the manager, bodyguard, whatever, dude's a giant. He looks like Deontay Wilder, to be honest. I don't think he's as big as Deontay Wilder, but I would have thought that was Deontay Wilder coming from behind. He was like, get out the booth, man. Get out the booth. And, you know, Trap Lord Ross is trying not to get punked. So now Trap Lord Ross is like, yo, I can't just scurry on out of here because then I'm going to look a certain way. So everybody's playing this game of posturing, and eventually, and Academics, because I believe this is Academics' booth, and they gave Academics an interview. He said he was going to get an interview. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I do remember Academics saying that he had a booth and Central C was going to get paid to perform, and part of the performance is that some of these rappers have to do a booth or something else. So Academics got flashbacks to well, wrap it up then from the Complex Con years ago. And instead of saying like, yo, don't trip, that's my man's, he can stay here, because Traplo Ross said Academics is his man's. Academics is not anybody's man's, except probably Leaf. That's his man's. And previously, like, those people that were around him. But and Grand. If you're not Grand, Leaf, or like 2 other people, Academics is not your man's. So Academics is looking at him like, yo, I'm gonna catch up with you later. Like, you go handle that. He could have said like, yo, don't trip, this is my booth, he's gonna stay here. But that didn't happen. So that is not your man's. But so why would Central C be upset? Well, to read off a comment that was made on Traplo Ross's documentary that Traplo Ross liked himself and approved of, this guy said, so in a nutshell, he's actually from the hood, in reference to Central C, dabbled a little in the streets, but nothing serious, not an industry plant, but more so was, quote, exploited by someone who had the money to push him. This isn't exploited in a negative sense, it's because this is like a contractual term. Like in a lot of contracts, they talk about, the right to exploit. It's like he used him. He saw the talent. He was like, yo, we just need to like work on the image a little bit and then push him. Decided to claim his neighborhood to fit his new image. So a guy from this neighborhood that had the money and the connections to push him decided to take him and push him forward. So he's pretty much a 6'9" that doesn't get in trouble. This is, I think, where there's a delineation from saying like, yo, he's not really like that, to this, and why I could understand somebody being upset, because Traplo Ross also started trolling a little bit, and he posted on his IG story a photo, an AI photo of Central C's face on 6ix9ine. And then that's when he got into it with like the A&R or somebody, I think it was a Sony A&R that first brought in Central C. I don't know if he was still, I think it was a she, yes, it was a she. I don't know if she was still working with Central C, but he got into a back and forth with her. But this is where I could understand Central C being upset about the situation, and he still handled it with the utmost class. So the 6ix9ine thing, like Central C, you could say like, yo, he wasn't really like that, he was just affiliated. That's one thing, but I could tell those guys were really, really upset. And I think what really upset Central C is the 6ix9ine comparison, because this was made like 6ix9ine comparison. That's one of the grimiest things you could be compared to, because I do not care what 6ix9ine can talk himself out of a lot of situations. One thing he's not going to talk himself out of is telling, because one of the reasons that he tries to use for telling is, oh yeah, Shotty was smashing my girl. There is zero evidence of that whatsoever other than 6ix9ine, who has been demonstrated a liar, despite the fact that he talks facts a lot of the time. He is been proven to be a liar and untrustworthy. So even Academics, who is 6ix9ine's mans, who was locked in with 6ix9ine, who was there for everything, he says that he does not believe that Shotty smashed Sarah Molina, who is 6ix9ine's baby mama. So Academics doesn't believe it. Shotty has said time and time and time and time again he did not do that. So it's 6, and even Sarah Molina said she did not do that. If it was just one of these people saying it, I could understand, but there is somebody who has an incentive to cover up for 6ix9ine, which is Academics, and if he believed that was the case, he would say it. But even he's saying he doesn't believe that Shotty smashed the, what's her name? Sarah Molina. So 3 different people that are all very close to 6ix9ine say that, so it's only 6ix9ine that believes that. And then he put hands on her because he thought that she got with Shotty, which is nutball stuff. So when you're making that comparison, not only are you making a comparison of being, making an honest mistake, a cooperator, whatever other synonym that we've got to add to Roget's thesaurus for telling, you're also adding putting hands on chicks multiple times, which is what 6ix9ine has done. So that's a really bad comparison. And Central C handled it. He was like, listen, I understand how this media stuff works, and I'm not going to do anything about it, right? That would be stupid. Like, Central C knows I would be a fool if I just steal off on Traplo Ross right now. I'm in a business setting. However, if people around me feel like you're disrespecting me and they decide out of their own volition to go and handle that, then that's on them. Which, of course, like, Central C's approving it. Like, if they put hands and feet on Traplo Ross, I don't think he's saying like, yo, chill. I think he's just going to look at him like, oh, well, that is what it is. And some people will say like, oh, maybe he didn't know. That's what I thought. I initially thought he didn't know Central C was at the booth. But in a later clip, Traplo Ross reveals that he did know Central C was in the booth when he links back up with Academics. And I'm gonna play you guys that clip right now.
Down there.
I got pressed by Cinch, man. I got pressed by Cinch.
Yo, dog.
No, Cinch was cool. It was his manager. His manager hates me.
No, yo, I was gonna be like, yo, bro, no, he's good until I realized I'm like,
You like
that's
Nate's
his
not
guy. No, I can't tell him that you're good when it's their booth, whatever. But yo, hold on.
I wasn't good. I knew I wasn't good going in.
You knew he wasn't
I
good?
knew I wasn't good, bro. I know I'm not
Gangsta,
good
I like,
at
yo,
them.
let me
Come
say
on,
this.
man.
Still pull up. That pull
Hold
up.
up. Come on, man. I still
Yo, let me
like.
say this. You damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Because you know what they're usually gonna say? Yo, these guys are not real guys. They don't come outside. We don't see them. All right, no, I am outside, and okay, cool. You know, I try to have a conversation with you because you don't have beef with him, do you?
I don't have personal beef with him. The thing is, yeah, the reason why people are so upset with the Cinch thing, I said in the video, like, his album was the best UK album. He's the best UK rapper we've
You mad
ever
over
had.
that? You're not mad over that.
But I said he ain't really a gangster. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Bro, you wear too much Nike Techs and shiesties.
I ain't seen him in a Nike Tech in a minute.
Yo.
I might need to get out of here, man. I might need to get out of here. I don't know if there's enough security.
Wait, hold on. He said there was a 4-hour documentary breaking down.
Yeah, I did the whole document. Look, all right, here's the thing, and this is no disrespect.
Wait, so you called him not a gangster the whole time?
I basically said his whole thing, he was making like pop music for girls, and then it wasn't really going anywhere. Then he got with his manager, who just pressed me.
Lil Durk makes music also for women.
Yeah, but Cinch was trying to do the music for women. It was not having any motion.
No, I guess what I'm bringing that up, I'm trying to say, not because you make music for women means you're not a gangster. So like, how did you get to that point?
No, so what it was, right? This is my understanding of the story and how it went down. Basically, it was like he was making this girly music. Well, he was apparently selling drugs. He was trapping and fair enough, but he basically wasn't having motion in the singing music, and then he started making drill music. He got with his manager, they put him in a Nike Tech, they said, look, we're going to get you around all the gangsters, we're going to get you in the studio of all these gangsters from this area, and basically turn you in to like the biggest gangster rapper in the city.
So here, Traplo Ross says like, oh no, he knew it wasn't a good situation. He knew Central C was in the booth, and he still pulled up. And when I think about that, I'm like, that's such a tough situation, because like, let's say what rappers hate me? I know Baby Keem hates me for sure. I don't think there's a single like gangster rapper or rapper that portrays gangsterism that hates me. I don't think Lil TJ's even seen my stuff. Polo G, I think we had an exchange. Well, it wasn't. It was a one-sided exchange. He just sent me a bunch of messages, but he unsent them. So I think like I think me and Polo G are chill. I don't think there's an issue there, but I've never called Polo G not a gangster. That's also another thing. I don't really talk about like who's a gangster, who's not. Now, if people are cooperating, listen, I have eyes and ears. So like Gunna, yeah, he told. But other than that, I think like the rappers that would be upset at me is Baby Keem, which I don't know why. Like I love Baby Keem's music, and I think Baby Keem's cool. Except like, you know, I guess he's just still upset about the situation about me revealing that he was cousins with Kendrick Lamar, and he was an industry plant. If we're gonna call somebody an industry plant, who else? YB and Namir, like me and Namir are chill. Smoke Perp for sure probably hates me, but Smoke Perp doesn't have a career, so that's all I can think of. And even so, let's just take like Baby Keem, right? If I see Baby Keem at a booth, I'm not, or Kid Laroi, right? Kid Laroi might hate me too, but I think he's doing well. If I see Baby Keem at a booth, I'm not saying let me pull up on Baby Keem and say what's up with cameras on. I know what that looks like, and I know how that can be interpreted, and it's just like, yo, that guy doesn't like me. Why would I approach him? That's it. Now, if Central C and his people pulled up on Traplo Ross, that's a different story. So there's a lot of different things going on here. And then also, like, you know, the comments where he's like, yo, I haven't seen him in a Nike Tech in a minute. Like, they're joking, but it's just, I don't see a positive to this. Like, I think Traplo Ross for sure is like, he's just making jokes, but like the jokes aren't like academics, right? Like he made it his thing. I think maybe it might have been some academics influence on Traplo Ross because he holds him in high regard. Traplo Ross too academic, so I think he's like, yo, I'm out here and I'm talking trash. He's been puffing his chest out as he should. Like Traplo Ross has had a legendary run the past 2+ years. Ever since that Vaughn documentary, he's just been like hammering it in. But he also sent a voice note to this UK YouTuber named Bouncer explaining the situation. And I'm going to play that for you guys right now. And yo, I'm going to play it before I say anything.
Yes, Aki, what are you saying? So look, everybody's seen the clip going around, all right? I was at Complex Con in Las Vegas. This is like the biggest hip-hop convention in the whole world right now, okay? And look, people were telling me there was going to be a Cinna booth, all right? I was trying to get fresh. I was trying to get my Cinna fit on. I was walking around looking for the Cinna booth for a minute. I eventually see it, and I see my boy Academics over there. That's my man. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to pull up on Axe, see what Axe saying. Then I kind of clock, oh, Axe chatting to Central C. But I'm thinking, bro, I don't know if it's that serious. I'm out here. I'm not scared. Like, I ain't hiding from anybody. So I was like, Axe my man. Let me go over there and see what they're saying. Let me see what Central's saying. And look, to Central's credit, he was actually cool, bro. Central actually showed love, dapped me up. He seemed like he didn't take the whole thing to heart. And he basically said, you did me a favor. And I was like, look, I always thought you guys would want to get that good promo. So Central's calm, but then YB's came over with a bad attitude, man. He was talking about, get out the booth, get out the booth. I'm seeing hella comments, hella little memes, people talking about, get out the booth. So, you know what I'm saying? I said, let me think about if I want to get out the booth, man. So I was just slowly moving around, trying to decide if I wanted to get out the booth. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. And he just kept yelling, get out the booth, man. But my security was kind of, letting me do my thing. I wasn't really trying to leave the booth immediately. Now, what you don't see in the live stream is that once we kind of got out the booth, Bello kept coming for me, man. He kept coming at me. And I feel like I stood my ground. So I'm going to drop a clip that shows you what happened afterwards when me and YB's got face to face. So people are going to see what went on. But honestly, it's all love with Central C. He was actually a super nice guy. He was safe. Sweetheart, really. Like, can't fault him. He's cool.
So he describes the situation. We haven't seen the footage from outside, but calling Central C a sweetheart after that situation is wild. Calling any grown man a sweetheart is wild. Like, he might as well have said, like, yo, I'll kiss you on your forehead. It's like, a sweetheart? Oh my goodness. So yeah, for sure Central C's team hate Traplo Ross even more now than they did before this. And I personally don't like how this turned out. Well, I'm glad that nobody got harmed, for sure. But I like Central C's music. And Traplo Ross likes Central C's music as well. But I guess this is what you get into when you talk about like the gangster stuff. Because if Traplo Ross pulled up on him and he was just a critic of Central C's music, would his security have reacted in the way that they did? I think they would. I 100% think they would. Because it's not just about like the gangsterism thing. Because that's like people around him. Would Central C have told his security to chill if Traplo Ross was just criticizing the quality of the music of Central C, right? Like, let's say he left all the gangster stuff out of it. I think there would have been more of a back and forth between Central C and Traplo Ross. Like, if Traplo Ross was like, yo, man, like, I really messed with your old stuff, like when you first got in, but like you became a little bit more polished and mainstream. Like, what's up with that? Are we gonna get like maybe a mixtape of like your more OG stuff where you're really, really rapping? Or are you gonna keep like kind of doing this hybrid approach, like something like that? I think that's a question that Central C would address. And I think he would tell his security to chill off of that. Because the security, the people, the manager, the people around, they're super sensitive to almost anything that is negative. Unless you're glazing the artist. Then, yeah, you get opportunities. And this is also another thing. Like, Academics just became so big that they're forced to F with him, basically. Like, he's just like, oh, this is the biggest guy. You got to do that. Like a Traplo Ross, if he wants to do something with a rapper, he's going to have a harder time because he gives his actual opinions. So he's not going to just glaze. Like, the people that get the opportunities with all of these rappers, producers, etc., they're glazers. They're just like, they don't say anything negative about the person. They don't give any strong opinions. They'll show love, but all they will show is love. There won't be any criticism, harsh, or, even moderate criticism. Because, like, think about it. If you're a PR team, are you going to send your artist to DJ Vlad, Charlemagne, Academics, or a type of individual like that? Or are you going to send them to have a puff piece done on them, which is like a Speedy Mormon? No disrespect to him, but when they send artists on a Speedy Mormon, they know they're not going to get pushback on anything. But yeah, this was an interesting situation. Like I said, I'm glad everybody got out of this in one piece, and I believe that his team was justified. I think they felt disrespected that Traplo Ross would walk up to them. That's what I think. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.